Welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today, we've got Stratton Brown back on here with us to talk about business tools. Stratton, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. How about you?
We're doing well. Cade?
Doing good, man. Stratton, thanks for coming back on. I know we had you on during the first season. Scott and I are super pumped to have you back and, talk to everybody about some important business tools that you use in your business to get to where you've been at. So thanks for coming back on.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. So last time you were on the podcast, we talked about who you are, what you do. You're a wholesaler and an investor. You're here in the Fresno area. You run a meetup. You've got a couple other businesses going. Can you kind of tell us what you're doing now? What's up with Stratton?
So we have our call center. What else? We're buying rentals. We are going to Indiana with you guys. We just started marketing out there. We broke into Indianapolis wholesale-wise. Our call center, our Amazon, that's a lot more passive. Rentals. That's about all.
Okay. So you're wholesaling, working with a call center. You're investing out of state now, and you're doing some work with Amazon as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And how long have you been looking at the call center? I know you had brought it up right when we had you on.
When was that? Like March? Like we started it in March, and then it really took off. Like we're decently sized now. We have like close to 50 employees.
Okay.
Dang. And where are those 50 employees situated?
Philippines, Egypt, and South America.
So all of them abroad?
Yeah, all of our employees are abroad.
Wow.
Okay. How have you managed to be able to do that?
Hiring on a great team, bro. I'd say that has been, like, if we talk about tools, it has been hiring and firing so many people and dealing with bullshit, seeing what personalities work together. Because we have one main person named Glenna who handles most of our QA, and then she's the COO or whatever of our company.
Okay.
And it was a godsend that we found her, and then she manages everything. All I ever do in my call center is daily huddles for like 15 minutes, and she handles all of our day-to-day, handles our sales coaches and everything else.
And how'd you guys find her? And where'd you find her?
Onlinejobs.ph.
No way.
There it is.
We found her on onlinejobs.ph, and we were just like, yeah, man, we need a quality person, because we were making our sales coaches listen to all the phone calls and sales coach people, and like we're like, you're working 12 hours today. Like we need these calls listened to.
Yeah.
And then our sales coaches got super bogged down. So like, okay, we need a quality person. We ended up hiring her on. Then she had a lot of other skills that we knew we could utilize, and she's been in leadership roles. And so eventually we've just sort of pushed her into being the face and the front of our company. Like I don't even know who we're hiring on today. Like we have someone who hires, fires, everything, quality assurance, and she manages all that.
Okay.
So that's been really good.
And what tools are you using for that call center?
Call Tools is the system we mainly operate off of. We do some accounts on ZenCall. And then Hubstaff, Hubstaff is what we use to track our VAs, right? So let's say if this is the screen and I'm doing something, I can see with screenshots what they're doing, and I can see how active they are.
Really?
So we have a certain amount of screen activity we want for anybody who's working with us, just so we know they're not bullshitting.
Right.
Gotcha.
See that they're actively.
And then that's how we track their hours on top of Call Tools and everything else. Because in order to track the hours dialed in Call Tools is really complex.
It is.
Like it's bizarre, right? Like it's stupid.
It's not intuitive at all.
At all. And we're beta testing 2.0, and they actually have that in it now. But then that's been an issue, and so we use Hubstaff for that. So with 2.0, we may not even use it, because we can do a lot more of that, and that'll drop our overhead. And then another two softwares you could use to track your VAs if they're like texting, calling, leads management, admin work is WorkPulse. WorkPulse is a little bit more on the industrial side, like bigger companies. And then Time Doctor. They do the same, but WorkPulse has more like an open back end, so like you can integrate anything. So like we can integrate our Podio, we can integrate our Stripe, like
really,
we can integrate everything. So like we click a button, okay, it says this person worked this many hours. We click a button and it bills our client automatically. We don't have to worry about anything, and it's just kind of streamlined instead of having like some person who handles our payroll and invoicing.
Okay,
sweet. And let's back up a little bit to Call Tools. So that's a dialer, right? And for those of us in real estate, whether it be investing, or on the agent side or any sort of that. We know that hand dialing can be a big pain in the butt. And so call tools is what we would call an auto dialer, right? So can you kind of break down call tools a little bit more for us and what it does, why it's important, how it helps you guys, and why aren't you guys just hand dialing compared to using call tools?
So we don't hand dial because it would take forever. And once you get, as an investor, right, you always want to target your niche lists.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we can go pull the courthouse. I can call the courthouse in a day, legitimately, with just like the way auto dialers are. We could call that same person twice in the same day and then still be like, okay, well, we're going to call this person for the next 12 months, 2 times a day till they pick up the phone. And then when they say no, we're going to still call them again.
Right.
And so a lot of this goes to equity lists or stuff that's not as niche to where you have to go through a lot more data to get something that's worth your time.
Okay.
And so that's why like auto dialers and call tools can call up to about 10 people at a time. And I would say we keep ours on a predictive setting to where it can go up to 10. And this is a little bit more complex. It goes up to 10. Like, let's say if we're waiting for a while, it'll increase the line count until we get someone on the phone, then it'll drop again. And it just fluctuates like that. Gotcha. But it can call up to 10 people as compared to Mojo. It only calls 3 people at a time. But I know people doing 6 figures a month calling with Mojo, like with their own internal call center teams.
So what exactly is an auto dialer for somebody who, and if you wouldn't mind explaining in a way for somebody who's brand new to the business?
So an auto dialer is just a software that's on your computer or on your phone. Mojo does have an auto dialer that I think is awesome if you're just getting started out. That will call up more than one person at a time for you. And it's so you don't have to hand dial it every time. And it'll just consistently call them, and then you can select, okay, well, you can put in your notes, they didn't answer, they answered, they said, call me back in 3 months. And then in Mojo or in Call Tools, you can just set up a certain callback time, and it'll automatically call that person at that time. And so that's what's really nice about the auto dialers. Did I elaborate enough?
That's perfect. Yeah. Okay. And so then when you're using it, you're using this for your call center, and then you originally were using this when you were just starting as a wholesaler. You know, how are you implementing this tool specifically to make more money? More than just calling, you know, multiple people at once. How many people were you able to call a day compared to hand dialing and things like that?
We do, I think on average, you're at about 1,000 dials a day.
1,000. And with finger dialing, do you have a ballpark on about how much a person could call in the same amount of time, finger dialing?
I don't know. I've never done it. From what I've been told, when people get like 100 hand dials a day in, they felt accomplished. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Hang up. And then you still have to write down your notes. I just like it so it's all in one place. I can be on my laptop. Okay, they said this, this, and this. Dispo it.
Yeah.
On to the next. And you just click a button and it starts calling someone else. It's just efficient is what I like.
So the big question is, too, how much is something like a Call Tools or a Mojo per month? Is it a one-time fee? Do you guys pay monthly for it or what?
I think, does Mojo have a startup fee?
No. It does not. At least when I got it, it did not.
So Mojo doesn't have a startup fee, and I think Mojo is like $175
per month.
And that is get the $175 and get the recorded voice, the recorded calls. It is 100% worth it. Like, some people try and go cheap and don't do it, but I can't tell you how many times I would have much rather just had the call recording and gone through and sifted it than calling someone back to get some bullshit question answered.
Really?
To where it was like, well, professionally, to where it looked bad on me. You know
so you use it as a way of like storing that information so that after you've hung up or later down the line, you can go back and go, oh, this is what he had said.
Yeah, like we use it for that, and we have our entire Podio and wholesale investing side. All our calls are recorded with smartphone, and everything, all the calls are made through our computers, and everything records. We have apps on our phone, but that's how all that works. But and then you want to be able to like sales coach yourself, right? As you're going along. My friend Greg, he would make sales calls, listen to all of his sales calls, and then critique them so we could get better every time. Like, when you're getting started out in this, more times than not, your friends don't want to do this with you. It's just you. It's you on a mission. And so if you can listen to them, like, oh, right here, I could have said this, this, and this. Like, at least to be your own coach, or if you find a mentor who can help you out and like, hey, Strat, we listen to these calls, or blah, blah, it'll be a lot better. And even like making sure you're on the script and you aren't varying from it too much when you're starting out. I think it is, you need to have a call recorder.
Is this something that you'd say somebody should get right when they get started, or at what point in their business should they get a a Call Tools or a Mojo Cells or a Batch, auto dialer?
I mean, when you can afford it, but I'd do it a lot sooner than later.
Okay.
And if you're like, I can't afford it, I'd tell you to go into your garage and sell some shit and get an auto dialer.
Yeah. So start getting auto dialer.
Your biggest cost if you're going to be like using an auto dialer though is going to be your data, right? Like you're just going to be plowing through so much data. You have to get to a point to where, as some people tell me, like, well, I have 500 leads. Like, okay, well, yeah, let's keep dialing them by hand because it's not going to make sense with an auto dialer.
Mm-hmm.
You'll
tear through that in a day.
You'll tear through it in a day, and then you just call them again, and then call them again, and then call them again, and call them again. You exhaust the list, and your number gets marked to spam or whatnot, and that gets frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a good segue, too, because, I mean, you mentioned data, having enough data to be able to even call. What tools do you guys primarily use to find your data, to find the information for the people you would need to call in the first place? What are kind of the big tools that you guys use in order to pull those people's information?
I forgot we have a skip tracing company. That's the other one.
You didn't mention it, so I thought, maybe he's not in it.
We use Rocket skip tracing to skip trace everything.
And what is skip tracing for people who don't know? What does it mean to skip trace somebody?
So, and this isn't like, oh yeah, we're deep state private investigators. Like we can go find someone's address and their last known address and their last phone numbers that anyone knows that they used. And we use those to get a hold of those people, whether it's texting, calling, or direct mail.
You don't have to go do that when you pay for Batch or Rocket Skip Trace, right? Like, I don't have to go and look for it. I just give you guys the name or the address, and then you guys do it?
Yeah, well, you can do a single skip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just shoot it back to you. Or you can do a bulk skip, and it'll send it back in a CSV file.
Okay.
Gotcha. So if I'm driving around and I see, oh, shoot, this rundown house is 1234 Main Street, I can go to you guys, hey, 1234 Main Street, and then you guys spit out first name, last name, phone number. Okay.
Yeah, you just go on the website, like, okay, like I was driving past one on Shepherd, and like a $500,000 house that's like all torn down. I was like, oh yeah, and just plug it into my phone
and pull that info.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's other tools like PropStream and Property Radar.
Don't use Property Radar's phone numbers.
How come?
They're just not good.
So you don't like Property Radar's phone numbers. What about PropStream?
I haven't tested PropStreams. Have you guys?
No, we have a couple friends who have it for the East Coast because, as you know, Property Radar is a West Coast only thing. So when we looked in Indiana, our info wasn't there. Yeah. So you really stick to all of your information comes directly from a skip tracing company.
I call data and our like skip tracing lists is another thing.
Okay.
Right, my lists come from the courthouse, like in South Bend, like we're scrubbing the courthouse now.
Okay.
To get like, okay, did this guy go to prison? What code violations are there? Public nuisance are there? Like, what is the city after you because you're a slumlord? We want to know all that info, and that's where we get our list. And then our skip tracing comes from Rocket Skip Tracing.
Gotcha. Okay. So if somebody sees like a house on the street, your suggestion would be to write down the information, put it in a list, get a couple of those properties together, and then go skip trace that.
Yeah.
And how much is it to skip trace on average? Is it a set price for one address, or if you do more,
the more you do, the less it is.
Gotcha.
Pretty much like per skip.
And what's the range per skip?
It depends on the company you use. I know with us, we're like 50 cents down to 15. Depending on the promo codes you use, you can get lower than that.
Gotcha. So you're paying a couple cents, 15 cents to 50-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, depending on size of the list and the info, Okay. And do you have to pay to have access to Rocket or Batch, or is it just when you go and you pay? Like when you bring a list?
For Batch, I think if you're just using the skip tracing, no, but you don't get as good of rates. If you are a Batch texting member, you can get the rates of skip tracing lower.
Really?
And then, like with us, because we are subscribed to their like highest text messaging platform, we can get the data cheaper. And then with Rocket, no, we don't have a subscription.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And be careful who you're using. I'd say Batch, Skip Genie, and us. I trust our data, but like Batch, Skip Genie, and us. Do you guys know of anyone else? Like those are where you should get your data
those
from.
are those are the only three I've used.
Yeah. Those are the only three I've ever used too.
And then like don't pay for 3-cent data. Like don't go to DataZap.
Do you find that when you start paying those super, super low rates that the numbers are just all trash, or what are you finding?
Yeah, just don't get a good return. Let's say they throw in maybe one number who's a relative, then the rest are disconnected in landlines, and it's just not, okay, I have a ton of phone numbers, but what am I supposed to do with phone numbers that aren't linked to anybody? Like sly broadcast or voicemail drops aren't really a thing anymore, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And so let's backtrack a little bit, right? So we started with the dialer, and then we talked about data. So theoretically, the next thing, so you pull someone's data, you throw them in the dialer, say, they're a lead now. That lead needs to be tracked and followed up with and, put all your notes in. So theoretically, the next business tool would be a CRM. Do you guys use a primary CRM for tracking all your leads?
Yeah, we use Pulse Podio. That is a lot more than most people need, honestly. Like if you're just getting started, you could use Google Sheets or a free Podio.
Okay. It's funny because last week Dean Rogers brought up he used Google Sheets until last year.
Yeah,
bro. He called me. He's like, "Hey, Strat, what Podio are you using?" I was like, "Well, I use Pulse." Like, what are you using? He's like, "Oh, we've been using Google Sheets." What the hell you mean you've been using fucking Google Sheets, bro?
And Dean's no beginner. He's doing massive business, and he was still using a Google Sheet. So,
right?
So
you use Podio Pulse. What would you recommend then, maybe for somebody getting started, if they're going to use Google Sheets? How do you even do that?
I don't know. I never used Google Sheets. I did, and I sucked because I'm the most unorganized person ever. And then when I started working with Alan, we were using a pretty complex Podio, and I just like it. I can go on my computer again, and it says, "Hey, call these 8 people today."
Right.
And I don't have to color code it. All I do is just add on the next task for the next time you need to follow up them, and that's all it is. And it's super basic. It houses all the data you need. And when I say data, I just mean first name, last name, address, the notes you need. You don't need anything else.
Right. Is Podio free?
Yeah. Podio's free for up to 500 leads.
Really? So if you're getting started, maybe you start with Podio, and then once you hit 500 leads, you should have the income at that point to pay for a few months of a CRM, and that CRM will make you money.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you pay per lead over those 500, or how does it work after you've surmounted 500 leads?
I think after that they're like, okay, start paying us $100 a month or something.
Or
they charge you by the user on the account, so you get charged. I know for us we get charged $20 per user on our account.
Oh, if you have multiple people on your team using this, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And then that's when they start okay, well, we can actually, if they have this many people in there, we should get some money out of them.
And
gotcha.
in your opinion, at what point? Well, I mean, we were just talking about. I mean, Dean has thousands and thousands of leads, I'm assuming, and they were still using Google Sheets. But when do you think it's most efficient to maybe graduate from Google Sheets to a Podio or something like that?
I say just start out in Podio because you're going to end up there.
Okay.
Start out in a CRM because you will end up in a CRM eventually.
Anyway.
And so you might as well just start using a CRM at the beginning. You can find a bunch of them for free. My friend Willie did $1 million last year, and he used a super simple CRM.
You don't have to make it super complex to make money, is what you're saying.
You do not need it at all. But you at least want something that houses it and holds you. I like the CRM because it holds you responsible for what's going to happen the next day. And if you're using Google Sheets or
you have to go look,
and one sells off, right? I hate Sheets and Excel because if one sells off, then everything's ruined. It's all over.
Yeah, I've used a CRM because of my real estate sales. So I've used Sync, Commissions Inc. It's a realtor version, and that worked great actually. A pretty powerful CRM. So I'll vouch for Sync. And then we, being at Keller Williams, we use Command now, and we've enjoyed the fact that at least with these CRMs, they notify us. It's really easy to find who you need to call in a day. I don't need to do any kind of searching or looking up color combinations or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's what we use.
Right. And then that way you don't want to make it hard on you to do shitty work. None of us want to do follow-up. You don't want to make it hard on you to do follow-up. You just want to log in. It's 8 a.m. All right, I'm here. I'm going to knock it out. You don't want to have to go in there and then go here.
Right. Okay.
So and I want to switch topics a little bit because we were talking a little bit. I mean, obviously you got started in wholesaling. You're still doing wholesaling. What do you use? So, I mean, you've got the lead in Podio. you finally lock up the deal, and now you've got to sign the contract, right? What tools do you guys use in order to push that out to get that deal assigned?
Meetup group.
Yeah, just throwing stuff, throwing it in there.
Me and Jason, and then I use Dean like Keekly, pretty much. Like, oh, I can't get it moved. Dean, what can you get for this?
So you get a contract locked up. You just put it into your Facebook group. Yeah. If it doesn't get purchased that way, then you just push it out to a few other Facebook groups, and then if that doesn't work, then you just partner with other wholesalers.
Yeah, then you just have Dean dispo it. Like, it's not anybody who's new. If you have a deal and you post it on Facebook, like it gets a little bit different, right? With us, we're like, okay, lock it up. We'll probably be able to get it sold. Let's see what we can get out of this. Mm-hmm. But generally, if you have a deal, you can post it on a Facebook group, and I'll pick it up. Jason will pick it up. You guys will pick it up. Like someone's gonna pick it up if it's a deal.
Okay. And so, do you use any kind of email marketing or anything like that?
Our meetup group has 700 people.
Oh, so you just email your meetup group's email database.
We email our meetup group's email. We post it in Jason's meetup, our meetup, and a couple other meetups. And then we do have a buyer's list in our Podio, like if stuff gets really rough. But then let's say it's in Ridgecrest and we need to find somewhere for it to go, then we'll skip trace it, have a bunch of VAs cold call that area. And then we found these people who are buyers, send it to them if they're interested. All right, we'll get a contract. Adam did 2 of those last month.
Oh, shoot.
Adam Abajan?
Yes. He sold a lot into Tehachapi by doing that. Think about that. He sold land into Tehachapi.
So he was finding land, locking it up, skip tracing the data, and cold calling with a VA out into Tehachapi to find buyers for land?
For land. A lot. Wow. A lot of land. I can't get lots of land.
What do you mean, like a lot of land?
Sold. A vacant lot.
Oh.
You know how many vacant lots I come across? Like, do you want $500 for your piece of land, sir? I'm like, I can't do anything with this. And he skipped. He's like, okay, well, he's like, all right, who owns land up here? And he went and called him and got it sold. He made a couple. I don't even know how much he made, but he made a lot more money. He made more money than he should have. Let's say that.
Wow.
So have you ever used, I know we know of a few people who utilize MailChimp. We use it occasionally for some of our stuff that we send out. Do you have any experience with MailChimp, or do you like the way MailChimp works in order to send out email marketing?
Email's powerful, bro. Like, we're looking into some email marketing and other aspects. Email's powerful, and you can use that list for other things, right? If you want to sell affiliates, if you want to do other stuff. But for me, I'd say it's just laziness, honestly. Like, I can post it in my meetup groups and send out a couple texts and it's sold.
Oh, so it's sloth in the fact that you don't even get to the email. You just put it on your social media.
There's no need to.
Yeah, I can put it on my social media, and then I know if I send it to my buyers list compared to freaking Dean's monster buyers list, I'll probably make more money if I just send it to Dean and he disposes it for me.
Yeah. So for people who are listening who are brand new and they find a deal, Cade and I use MailChimp. It's an email blaster. It allows you to keep your buyers list private so that you aren't just sharing all that information out all the time. And it allows you to set up an email that goes out to each individual person, giving the address, the price, the closing terms, what you need for putting in an offer, how to reach out to you and whatnot. And it's super easy. All you need to do is just have a list of emails to input into it. Do we pay anything for that?
No. So it's similar to, it's like if you have like under 500 people in your buyers list, you can send out, you won't get charged. I know.
Okay.
After that, it's kind of like a tiered thing for however big your list is, and you'll start to get charged a certain amount. But no, up to a certain point, it's free. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know that was
you can text as well.
Like, you can text?
No, like text out your buyers. Like,
right.
We've texted our buyers to sell stuff too.
Yeah, Dean's a big texter, and so is Matt Buys Houses. Yeah. Right?
And like generally, man, if like something makes out of the email, it's trash.
That's what Matt was talking about that a little bit. He's like, rarely any of my deals ever go out to my buyers list because they're sold beforehand. Mm-hmm. Like there's almost no need to get to that point to where they're being sent out via the buyer's list.
Like I'd rather like, okay, I know 10 people. Like, you interested? Yeah, I'm interested, and I know they'll close.
Yeah.
And then like we have emotional capital that's already invested into it, to where It's there to some random Joe Schmoes like, oh yeah, I want to get into it, blah blah blah. And then they back out 3 days before closing, and then you have zero leverage, and you have to offload it at a significant discount.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I really want to walk through a little bit how you managed to go from seeing an address or getting an address all the way through dispo or dispositioning it, selling it to an end buyer. Can you walk us through the tools in the order that you use them on how you get to that?
Okay.
Because you do this on such a high level, it's sometimes easier to break it down to just one property.
So a property, let's say I drive by a house in Pinedale. I actually saw one on the way here that was boarded up. I'll drive by it on the way back. I see it, and I'll pull it up in PropStream, or we have Batch Driven that we're testing out as well. That is like a driving for dollars app.
Okay.
And it has all of our NODs like in one place, and we can go knock them, and it's a lot cheaper than Property Radar, and so far it tracks our knockers. And so I'll go there. I'm like, okay, here it is. I'll just take a screenshot of the property. I'll email it to myself. I'll get to it later. I need to get better at just having someone else skip trace it and call it and do that. Let's say you get it. You just go take it. Let's go to rocketskiptracing.com. They're going to ask you, okay, what's the name of the person, the address, and then if it's absentee, the mailing address.
Okay.
Once that happens, you get those numbers, and you're just going to take your phone and you're going to hand dial them. Like I hand dial if I get like a single skip trace, like I'll just call them off my cell phone.
Yeah.
Right. I'll hand dial them. If you get 6 numbers back, 2 of them will be worthwhile. This is for all data generally, right? You're going to get disconnected. You're going to get landlines, and you're going to get someone's aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so you call them like, hey, are you interested in selling? Yeah, okay, I'm interested in selling. Sweet. And either if you're going to lock it up over the phone, you're just going to take them through the whole script. If not, set an appointment, go over there, talk to them, get pictures. Now we've locked it up. Awesome. Hey, I got a deal. This is what it's at. We'll send it out. Text first, just normal buyers. Do you guys want this? All right, nobody wants it. Post it to the meetup. Nobody wants it. If nobody wants it there, send it to Dean. Let's say our first buyers pick it up. We write up an assignment contract. We assign the property to our buyer for X amount of dollars. Let's say we assign it to him for $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's over with.
Gotcha.
And then always require EMD, earnest money deposit, with your buyers.
And when you say require an EMD, we put a hard EMD, meaning that it's non-refundable.
Yeah, non-refundable.
You do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm taking your money.
Right. So if somebody backs out, you at least make that little bit money up, and you can, use that to figure out something else.
Especially if like someone drags you out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever want that. Like drags you out, and then let's say, like Adam got screwed right when COVID hit, to where a guy backed out on the day of closing on a property that had been in escrow for 60 days.
Okay.
Because there was no EMD? Or was he able to back out?
Because there was no EMD. Yeah, I'd have been like, bro. Like, and that whole situation went down. I'll tell you guys about that afterwards. But like, if I had his money, I'm like, all right, I'm keeping your $5,000. Like, I don't give 2 shits, man.
And it's important for people listening to learn from that mistake and not make it yourself.
Well, yeah, and because you're messing up the seller's life. Let's say the seller had bills they were expecting to pay at that time. Like, that person's messing up that entire transaction that they said, and we have a legally binding document.
Yeah.
That says, hey, this is what's going on. So I say take their money.
Gotcha.
And then don't ever sell them another deal.
There we go. Can you do one? I know when we had you on the first episode back in the first season, you have a couple of codes, promotional codes for some of these tools that people can use. Do you mind doing one more recap of the codes that you have and for which services that you have them for?
So since that, for skip tracing, just go to rocketskiptracing.com. I don't need a promo code for that, luckily. It's my company. Do that for all your skip tracing needs. For PropStream, just go propstream.com/easybreeze data. For Batch, it should just be promo code STRAT for anything.
STRATT.
Yeah, STRATT. For Call Magicians, just say you heard about it from Scott and Kate's podcast.
Boom.
There we go. And I know one of the questions we wanted to ask too. So we've been talking about all the tools that, have worked for you and that are working and doing the job. What are tools that people need to stay away from or that you've had a bad experience with?
Data zap. Like you don't want cheap data, bro. That you're spending. Oh, I have 30,000 phone numbers for $30. Like, yeah, bro. You just burned $30. Good on you. What else is something that I suggest not using?
You mentioned that you don't think Property Radar's
Property
numbers
Radar's
are great. What about the data that it provides for like?
I used their data for a while.
Okay.
But at a certain point, we were pulling so many lists that I had to create like 8 different Property Radar accounts one time.
Oh, really?
To like export out like the amount of data that we wanted.
Yeah, because there's a $10,000 or 10,000 limit.
And with PropStream, we could just upgrade our subscription for the month and create. And then that way, like it gets really hard like scrubbing your list against stuff when you have to have 8 different accounts and there's madness. Right. PropStream, just pay a couple $100 more, and you can just separate all your accounts that way.
Okay.
I think if you're on the West Coast, Property Radar is awesome. PropStream is nationwide. I think, and you don't need PropStream. You can comp everything off of Zillow just by going off of the solds. And then if you are just getting started, you should learn how to go to your courthouse or go online and pull data off the courthouse records.
Okay. Is there a way that you found is easy, or is it just meet somebody who knows how to do it and work with them? Just
look up Fresno County Recorder, Merced County Recorder, and then you just kind of got to look for documents.
Okay.
Every single one is different. Maybe your county doesn't even have it, but that is where you're going to get pre-foreclosures, like as they come in, your code violations, people are going to go to jail, all that stuff. That's where you're getting all that.
All the motivators for someone who might be looking to sell.
Legitimate motivators instead of just calling a high equity list and scrubbing.
Okay.
Especially
if you're hand dialing.
Okay. And what's the best way people can reach out to you? Social media? I mean, you mentioned some of this stuff. I mean, your website for skip tracing and stuff already. But what if people have questions for you or want to learn a little bit more about the tools that you're using or go a little more in depth? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Strat Daddy on Instagram. That'd be the best way. Or you can look me up on Facebook, Stratton Brown, I believe.
And you have a Facebook group. Can you remind us? Central Valley
Wholesalers is our Facebook group. And go ahead and join that. I don't post as much on there, but like I have a deal analyzer in there. I think I have all my contracts in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Our assignment contracts in there to where
there's a lot of active users.
Yeah, and like the biggest thing, everyone's like, "Well, I don't want to do anything to have a contract." Like, just join the Facebook group. There's like 9 different contracts that you can use that we use actively that you shouldn't have to worry about anything.
For free, just for joining the group.
Yeah, just for joining the group because we had so many people ask us all the time. And then we have a bunch of our meetup presentations in there as well. Like they go over marketing, how to talk to sellers, how to find buyers, all that. There's a bunch of PowerPoints in there as well.
Right.
Sweet.
Perfect. Any closing remarks or thoughts or any advice for anybody getting into the business, especially with tools and wholesaling and how that can take you different places?
Don't quit. Podio does not matter. Just worry about deals. Like, because some people get caught up. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need my CRM to do this. Only thing that matters is people selling you their house. And don't quit. And if you guys are looking for lead generation, cold calling, go to callmagicians.com. We have the best VAs in the business.
Boom. There it is. Well, thanks for coming back on, Stratton. We appreciate it. Always good to see you, man.